Hello everyone, welcome to another live session by Prep Academy. Hope your IELTS preparation is going all well. So in today's session, we have Miss Rupinder Kaur with us. So she scored a band 7 in her IELTS first attempt. That is a great feat done by her, and we want to congratulate her for achieving that. And also in today's session, she will be sharing her tips, strategies that she used to prepare with all of you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. We will address them towards the end of the session. Okay, so let's get started. Hi, Rupinder.
Hello, ma'am.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, ma'am. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Great. Thanks, Rupinder. Thank you so much for taking out time to join us in today's live session. So, Rupinder, why don't we start by a little introduction about you?
Sure, ma'am. My name is Rupinder and I have completed my basic education from Punjab School Education.
Okay, all right. So, Rupinder, tell me one thing. So, why did you decide to take IELTS in the first place?
Well, it has become very common that if you take IELTS, then you will definitely go abroad for your higher study. But to be honest, I didn't have that intention. I took this test just because of my parents, because they wish that I take this test and I fulfill their wish.
Right.
Another reason was my great interest in English, thanks to my English teacher during my schooling.
Okay.
She taught us English in such a way that it became one of my favorite subjects. And I think IELTS is kind of test that can help you to check your level in English. So I took that test.
Right. That's amazing. I know sometimes these teachers, right? Some good teacher can do wonders for you in your life, right? And
Yes.
I'm really sure that you must be very thankful to your school English teacher who has, put you on this track towards, English language in general and pursuing a career in that. So kudos on that. So that's great. So, Rupinder, now coming on to the burning topic, right? So, how did you go about preparing for IELTS? What was your overall strategy like?
Okay. Well, I spent 3 months for preparing for IELTS. In the first month, I just focused on understanding what is IELTS, what is the format, and what kind of questions do I get in the test. And after that, once I became familiar with everything, then I went for practice.
All right. So as I understand, basically, so you took good 3 months and your strategy was to first understand the test format properly and then the different type of questions, right? And once you were clear on all those things, you started on to doing regular practice, which helped you ace all the question types. That's great. Okay. So, another question. So for how many hours did you study on an average when you were preparing for IELTS?
Well, frankly speaking, there wasn't any specific number of hours that I used to study. But yes, at night I used to study for 3 hours, not continuously, but with some breaks. Like after 40 minutes, I take a break of 10 minutes, then like repeatedly like this.
Right. I know breaks are very important. Some students have this thing that, if we will study without any breaks for so many hours, so this is going to be the mantra for success for us. But yes, you have to figure out the right balance for yourself, right? And do as much practice as you personally think you need, right? Or maybe if you are taking some professionals' help, some trainers' help, so check with them what is your exact level, where do you lie, and then decide according to that, like how many hours you need to put in. So that's great. I understand that you were utilizing night time when it was quiet. So that is a strategy that other students can also follow if there's a lot of commotion in your surroundings during the day. So night
like if students are interested in studying in the morning, then they can also try. But my plan was to study at night because everyone was sleeping at my home and I had no one to disturb me. So that really helped me.
That's really great. So another tip for you guys. So if day is not working out for you, you can study at night. So it really depends on how much effort you want to put in your IELTS preparation. Great. Thanks, Rupinder. So right. So a lot of students have been coming to us and asking, how do we go about preparing for listening module? Right. So there are no specific tips, strategies. How can you plan your listening module as such so that you can cover a wide base of questions?
I would suggest everyone not to do just tests. Try to listen to audio in journal. Like you can listen to English songs, you can watch web series in English. That would really help. I myself listen to a lot of audios on YouTube, and I am personally fond of watching dramas and serials, and I used to watch them with subtitles. Like some words like in Hindi or in Punjabi get translated into English. So it was really helpful for me to learn new words. And some days I just listened to the audios, and some days I completed full tests. That really helped me with my listening.
Right. So great tip again. So students, you can actually just not focus on IELTS tests, right? What you should do is you should start listening to English audios in general, so that your brain acclimatizes itself to, comprehend what is being spoken in English, right? And what Rupinder used to do was she used to watch series and YouTube videos in English. So that kind of helped her in picking up the language, the different accents, and kind of helped her in general. And once she was, at a certain level in understanding English language, I think you started doing the IELTS tests as well, right? So great tip, guys. Something that you can incorporate in your preparation as well. Great. Thanks, Rupinder. That was really helpful. So next question, Rupinder. So did you take coaching for your IELTS exam?
Yes, I did join an institute. It was very important for me because in the beginning I didn't even know what is IELTS and why do we take IELTS. So it was very important for me to join the institute where I spent 3 months.
Got it. So you're saying that joining this institute kind of put you on the right track for preparation.
Like
so
whether online classes or offline classes, you must get training from someone. Like someone who can tell you your mistakes and working how to work on them. So right. It is necessary.
Got it. So Rupinder, other thing related to this only. So what do you think is more important, self-study or taking a professional's guidance, like joining a coaching or an institute? So which one is more important out of the two?
Okay, in my opinion, both are important. Self-study actually helps you to work on your weak ideas. But in order to identify your weak areas, you must need professional guidance. You must need a trainer who can tell you where you lack and how you can improve that. Right. So I think once you are clear with everything, once you have cleared all your doubts about the format, question type, then you can go for self-study. But in the beginning, must take coaching from someone.
Got it. So basically, you can start off your prep with a professional's guidance where they can explain you the format and the different question types, the strategies, the techniques that you can use, right? So that everything is covered, that you are not leaving out something. And then you can reinforce that preparation by doing practice. So you're saying both the things are important. So one can't say that do this and just leave out the other. Okay.
Yes, I myself used to study like 9 to 5 it was coaching, and at night 9 to 12 it was my
self-study. Right. So there should be a right balance between both of them. Got it. That is helpful because we typically, keep on getting this question again and again that, I am trying to prepare for IELTS on my own. I'm watching all these videos. Should I join a coaching or is it a waste of money? So your viewpoint is quite balanced that both have their own role to play. That's helpful. Right. So Rupinder, because of, the whole COVID situation, online classes have, kind of entered the different domains, right? And what I would like to hear your viewpoint on online classes for IELTS. Do you think that they are as productive, as useful as offline centers?
Well, yes, I consider online classes to be very helpful, especially in today's time when the pandemic is going on and
Right.
everyone here is stepping out of their homes.
Hmm.
So, and online classes are playing an important role. Like schools and colleges are also conducting online classes. If I talk about online classes for us, these are really helpful.
Mhm.
Because you can get coaching from expert trainings at expert trainers from any part of the world, and especially affordable prices. That like money is the most important thing whenever we think of coaching.
Right,
Like
right.
online, if we go for online coaching, then we have to pay more. It is like everyone is charging a lot. Like they are like IELTS is kind of trend nowadays, and institutes are charging as much as they can because the students have to pay for that. So I think online classes are playing very important role, especially for poor students who want to pursue their dreams but can't just because of money. So I would strongly recommend online classes. I would have also taken online classes if I had contact with them. So
Right.
yes,
If online classes were available back then, I'm sure that you
yes,
would have. Right.
yes,
So that's okay. So your viewpoint is basically online classes can be a good, mode to
yes,
prepare
especially in
yourself,
IELTS.
especially for IELTS, because you can get connected to the best of the best traders, right? Sitting at your home, you don't need to leave your home, especially in this COVID time. So yeah, because of the convenience, I think they should be considered. So
Yes.
that's helpful.
Moreover, there would be no timing issue. Like you can take classes at any time according to your convenience. There are a number of batches that every online coaching provides.
Right, right. So that time flexibility also gets added to the
Yes.
advantages that, right? So this is a viable, option for students preparing for IELTS, right? Okay, got it. So next, so a lot of students, since our trainers help them in identifying their weak areas. So the big task, as I say to them, is basically improvising those weak areas and
Yes.
strengthening those um, weaknesses. So how did you go about improving your weak areas, Rupinder?
Okay, once I became familiar with the IELTS completely, then I started realizing that reading and writing are very are quite difficult for me. So for reading, I think the reason was my less interest in English reading. Like
Okay.
since my schooling, I have great interest in English, but I have never shown much interest in IELTS in reading
Okay.
generally.
Right.
So for that, I had to work more on that. I used to do tests as well, but sometimes I just read the passage to understand the overall meaning, and sometimes I just understand the questions. Like this is the question, what does it mean? How can I find this? And sometimes I just solving just one passage, but in a specific time limit that was 17 to 20 minutes. That really
Okay.
helped me in my exam as well.
Right. Right. That's really great. So as I understand, two things. One is that it's very important for you that you identify your weak areas, right?
Yes.
And you can take the help of a professional trainer for that, right? And once you've identified those, you should work on improving those areas. And for you specifically, as you said, reading was something that you found
Yes.
less interesting, right? So but because you felt that it was not interesting didn't mean that you were not giving time. On the contrary, you gave more time to it so that you cover all type of questions and you can get the required band score. And other thing that I got from you is that time bound practice is what really help you. 17 to 20 minutes per passage is what you were targeting. So students keep that in mind. Right, you were saying something, sorry.
Yes. In my exam, this how did this help me? I want to tell this. As soon as I got the test and we were instructed to start, I just started test and didn't even look at the time. And after completing the passage, when I looked at the time, I was seriously shocked. I completed one passage in just 15 minutes.
Wow, that's a dream for every IELTS
Yes,
aspirant, I'm
seriously.
sure.
And it really helped me for the rest of the passages. Like
Right,
I
I'm sure.
gave proper time on that.
That's
Yes.
that's amazing. So guys, time bound practice can do wonders for you as it did wonders for Rupinder. So
Yes.
do keep that in mind. Great. So
And for writing,
yes,
I was telling what.
yes, please go on.
I was telling about writing as well. For
Hmm.
writing, in writing task one, I faced difficulty with structures. Like there are number of structures that you have to follow.
Hmm.
Like you can't write on your own. You have to follow some structures. So I faced difficulty with that, and in order to overcome that difficulty, I started practicing on that. Like yes, I wrote some sample answers. I complete answers like introduction be pura, but
Right.
sometimes I just worked on structures. Like if one structure is difficult for me, I would just focus on that, and once I practice that, next day I would try to write that in a proper way as I practiced.
Right. So in writing also you focused on sentence structures, right? Because I think that's a major component of your assessment criteria. So right, and you would practice the different sentence structures and
Yes.
right, and reading certain samples also kind of help.
Yes, students can get to know like these are some structures, but
Hmm.
when they get confused when they have to use them in the whole report, like
Right.
they don't know when where to use this structure when
Hmm.
next.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that is the problem. So I worked on that. And for
Right.
task two, the biggest problem was idea generation. Like whenever
Hmm.
I get the question, my mind goes blank. It used to go blank, but now it is sorted. So I
Right.
for that I read as many sample answers as I can. And from
Okay.
that, I came to know about different structures like complex sentences and different words about
Hmm.
a different specific topic like technology, education, like more.
Hmm. Hmm. Got it. So basically for task one, students should definitely focus on sentence structures, right? And just not knowing the structures is sufficient. So basically you also need to understand how and where to use those structures, right? That is what
Yes.
I understood. And the second thing basically you said about task two was that a lot of students, including yourself back then, you struggled with
Yes.
idea generation for task two. And I've heard this from a lot of our students as well. So for that, basically, you said that reading a lot, right, helped you, and
Yes.
reading on topics that are typically seen in IELTS exams, like
Yes.
nature,
Specifically on that.
environment, technology, all these topics kind of help you in picking up new words, sentence structures, as well as ideas, right? Great. That's really helpful. I'm hoping, guys, you are taking notes of whatever you're finding useful, and you would incorporate these things in your own preparation plan. So, Rupinder, we have a request from one of our students. So they want to know how did you go about preparing for the listening module? No, sorry, that we have covered. Okay, so the next question is, how did you improve your vocabulary? A lot of students struggle with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I didn't pay much attention to
Mhm.
vocabulary
Right.
because I think learning synonyms is important. Like learning new words is not important, which are very unfamiliar to you. So
Mhm.
how did I work for this? Like my strategy was to when I was reading sample answers for writing,
Hmm.
I used to pick some words from that and note that in my notebook so
Okay.
that I could remember them and revise them once a week.
Hmm.
And from reading, I also took help for the vocabulary. I
Hmm.
used to underline some words that are new to me and then Google them and getting some synonyms that mean the same.
Right. So that's really helpful. I think a lot of students, get extremely tensed about how do I improve my vocabulary. But as you said, vocabulary, yes, it's an important part, but you should not focus too much on that. It's not a contest of using fancy words, right?
Yes.
So the idea is basically using a good range of words, but also know how and where to use them, right? So the usage is the very important part. And you said, a good source of these words could be the reading passages or the writings or the listening recordings themselves, right? So you were in a habit of picking words from there, and then you would jot them down. So guys, this is an amazing strategy. Rather than spending time on different vocabulary lists, this is something that you all can incorporate in your study routine, right? Whenever you're doing a reading passage, just whatever new words you are finding, because they would be relevant to the topics that are typically seen in IELTS as well. So this is a great strategy. Everyone, I think, can make use of this. That's very helpful. Rupinder, I have one more question for you. So one of our students wants to know, so how did you go about preparing for IELTS speaking module?
Okay. As I said in the beginning, like clearing IELTS wasn't my aim. My aim was to make English my language, and I wanted to improve this. So for speaking module, I focused on like conversating in English as much as I can, so that I would be able to communicate with anyone.
Right.
Like as I am communicating with you right now, that's totally because of that.
Right.
Like I did work on speaking as well. IELTS speaking, my strategy was for part 1. I used to question myself, and I answered myself. Then for part 2, my strategy was to like noting down the bullet points for the bullet points of ideas, and in that my friends really helped me. Like we all used to sit in a round, and we used to think of ideas, like different ideas, and then I was the one who used to speak. And if my time limit, like if I talk less than 2 minutes, then they used to tell me that speak again. So that really helped me. So I would suggest everyone to make notes of just your main points, like not just writing sample answers, as some students do. Like they start writing complete sample answers so that they could cram that, or they could remember that, but this doesn't help much. But if you write your ideas on your notebook and then start speaking of that again and again, that would be really helpful.
Right.
And for part 3, it was the same problem as writing task 2. So for that, I had to read sample answers. Then once I like started making extended answers, then I worked on myself.
Right. So great tips again. So as I understood, so you approached speaking as quite in a similar way as you did listening, right? So it was more focused on improving your general conversational skills rather than just focusing on what type of questions would be asked in IELTS exam, right? So that kind of helped you in improving your general communication skills also. So great. And also for your speaking, you kind of you would do practice by yourself. That is what I got, right? So a lot of students have this perception that they can't practice speaking by themselves, but you can, and you have proven that. And the second thing is that you also took help of your friends who were maybe preparing for IELTS along with you. And yes, guys, so you can use your take help from your family members, friends, or you can just do it by yourself. And as Rupinder said, the idea should be to generate bullet points, right, on whatever topic, whatever question is given to you, right? You have to talk about it. It should not be that you go on the internet, pick up some answers and cram those up and just vomit the answer there in front of the examiner, right? So the idea is that you should, one, be able to generate ideas, right? And the second thing is that you should be calm and confident, and just be yourself, and keep practicing, by yourself or with your friends. Great tips, Rupinder. I really hope, students would have benefited from our discussion. And I have a question here in the chat as well. So Harkirat wants to know, ma'am, what were the problems that you faced in like IELTS grammar, and how long did you take to complete the study, the entire, I think, preparation, right? So it would be really helpful if you can answer this as well.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. As I said, I spent 3 months for the preparation, and if you ask me questions about grammar, luckily, just because of my teacher, I'm really thankful to her. My grammar was quite good. I didn't have to work on that much. And for grammar, I used to watch some like videos from native English speakers, and that helped me in my listening as well. So, like, you must have got an idea that everything I practiced, I was related to each other. Like,
Right.
listening was related to speaking, reading was related to writing. So, this was my strategy. And for grammar, you can take grammar classes as well, and you can practice yourself because there are a lot of videos on grammar.
Right. So basically, if someone is facing issues with grammar definitely is an important part of your overall IELTS preparation, because if you don't have sound grammar, you won't be able to create correct sentences, and you will end up losing marks in your writing as well as your speaking module specifically, right? So very important, and you can take help of a lot of material available on the internet, and also you can join professional coaching classes. And the other thing is that keep practicing, right?
Yes.
Keep practicing.
Practice is must.
Practice is must, right. So any other questions, guys, or we will just wrap it up? I think we've already got a lot of answers from Rupinder. So great. I think
one thing I want to tell everyone. Yes, I want to tell everyone that don't just focus on IELTS. It's just a test. Focus on your language. Like if you want to clear your IELTS exam, first work on your English. If you work on your English properly, like 4 sales that are needed, then IELTS is nothing for you. You can clear it in your first attempt and with paid band school. So focus on language. Don't just focus on test. It's just a test, but it can help you to change your life. Like as it changed my life. Now I am able to speak in English very fluently. I hope you have seen this. So it is very helpful. So don't worry about IELTS. It will be nothing in front of you if you know English.
I think that's the most helpful advice. So a lot of students just, get carried away by the test format and, scoring in this module, that module, right?
They just keep worrying about everything. Like, what will I do in listening? What will I just keep practicing whatever you know, whatever you learn, but try to do that with your whole heart.
Right. Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Don't just do for like clearing your exam and going abroad. Just like do it
for yourself, right?
Yes.
Do it for yourself. Do it for, because you want to learn that language, and obviously the language will also be kind to you if you're doing it with that perspective in mind. That's a great tip. I think the most wonderful lesson of today's class. I hope, guys, you will keep that in mind. And students, I hope today's discussion was helpful for you, and you got all your questions answered by Rupinder. So just in case you have any more questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and we will try to get back to you with the answers to those questions. Thank you so much for joining us for today's live session, Rupinder. Thank you for taking out time. And guys, thank you to you as well for joining us for today's live. I hope this was useful for you. And if you liked our video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends who can also get these useful tips to prepare for their IELTS exam. Wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.